Metacritic scores. Am I right? These things basically tell the average gamer how to act, right? If a game they like or want to like gets a low score, their entire personality becomes defending the game and, saying critics are evil and objectively incorrect and they probably killed John F. Kennedy. Something to that effect. I am not exempt from this. You're watching the video, you read the title, and from it you should be able to deduce that I'm about to do exactly that. Defend a game series that I love, calling out critics for their gross misunderstanding of the franchise, all the while completely ignoring the questionable things done by its creator. So, if you don't live under a rock, you're definitely aware. So, if you don't live under a rock, you're definitely aware of the recent Five Nights at Freddy's movie, starring one Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. This movie is actually the reason I'm even talking about this to begin with. The movie premiered to less than stellar critical response, namely IGN, who are definitely, totally, highly regarded journalists for their credibility and totally fair takes, and have never, ever said anything controversial or disingenuous about anything. Ever. Overused jokes aside, let's give IGN's review a really thorough read so that I can look at this from as unbiased a standpoint as possible, Slam the door on this animatronic monstrosity. Oh boy. If IGN's already giving us their staple, out-of-touch jokes, surely then we're in for a good time. Let's see what it is that this Mr. A.A. Dowd has to say about this movie. In the first paragraph, we're met with Dowd saying, "The original Five Nights at Freddy's drew its cruel power from how helpless it left the player feeling. You have no weapons, no escape route, nothing but a limited range of defensive actions, all linked to a rapidly depleting power source. It was an exercise in nightmare minimalism, a surveillance simulator of doom. The fan base was deserved, if still unfathomably massive." Alright, this guy actually seems to have an understanding of the series. He's building credibility by giving a decent bite-sized review of the first game. Let's hope he maintains this credibility later down the line. He doesn't! That this relentlessly milked cash cow and merchandising goldmine would eventually be turned into a movie was inevitable. Relentlessly milked cash cow and merchandising goldmine. Okay, that's it, buddy. Your Freddy Fazbear fan card just got instantly revoked. If I had so much as a penny for every critic who calls this series milked, Scott Cawthon would be on all fours in a fucking gimp suit calling me master right now because I paid him to. No, wait, hell. I would have Elon Musk on his goddamn knees begging for me to invest in Twitter and keep it afloat for 5 minutes. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's keep reading. A master of suspense, like John Carpenter and his crime. Okay, I'm stopping you right there. I think I'm about to get IGN bingo. Why does every movie review have to mention some classic director who isn't working on the fucking movie? It's weird, but let's keep going. Basically, to save you the pain of hearing this pretentious rambling, he basically says that if a good director made this movie, it would basically just be self-indulgent art house horror. Later in the article, you'll begin to see a better idea of what this ideal FNAF movie of his would really look like. The next paragraph is basically just a summary of the movie's plot and premise. There's not much to write about here. This is just standard fare for most reviewers nowadays. Although I will say that Dowd uses some overused descriptors that you'll hear in every review ever made about anything. Stuff like cartoonishly villainous, to describe one of the main character's relatives in the movie. Toward the end, the reviewer says this: "We know she's a monster, organic rather than mechanical, because she's rude to service workers. Are you being paid by the word? She quips at a waiter. Given the volume of superfluous grab, you might ask the screenwriters the same thing. Oh, I'm so funny. Such highbrow humor from someone as smart as myself from IGN, A.A. Dowd. Now, I'm not going to criticize him for expecting profound and brilliant writing from a series where you spend an entire game being called Eggs Benedict by your employer. Who the fuck am I kidding? Of course I am. I'm just gonna leave my fucking background list like this, I don't care. Five Nights at Freddy's has never been known for writing deep side characters when they have little relevance to the plot. It's known for complex world building and tragic main characters. I once again fail to see what this guy is complaining about. Besides maybe that an evil character is, well, oh, I don't fucking know, a prick. Maybe she's, I don't know, a thorn in the side of the main character and that's the point. But maybe, just maybe I'm being a bit too brutal. Probably not, but let's see what else this guy has to say, just to be sure. Yes, contemporary horror's obsession with trauma has breached even the colorful walls of Freddy's. I don't even know how to respond to this. Did you want Mike to be a two-dimensional and totally unlikable piece of shit? He was a silent protagonist in games because it works, to immerse you in the atmosphere. But being a fleshed-out character works so much better because it's a movie. Because in the movie, you're supposed to give a shit about the character, and if he's a blank slate, that doesn't work because you're not playing as him, You're not immersing yourself. To immerse yourself, you have to be related to the character. So, if he's going through some form of emotional turmoil and pain, if he's fleshed out, you're gonna feel that shit. Let's keep going. Hutcherson's hero will spend much more time grappling with his demons and talking to ghosts, figurative and literal, than he will be scanning staticky monitors for signs of herky-jerky movement. Who invited the therapist to the pizza party? Okay, so what you're telling me is that you want the movie to just be a playthrough of the game. Do you realize how boring that sounds? I mean, just watch a fucking playthrough at that point. Play the game, even. Do you realize how boring it would be to watch a movie about some dude flipping through random cameras and occasionally seeing robot heads swiveling about? This guy just wants to watch 2 hours of a guy with no personality staring at a spooky computer screen. It's ridiculous, man. Tweens will see this PG-13 horror movie, but they also play the games, and the robots are rather frightening there. In part, it must be said, because you only ever see them locked in staring place, waiting for you to look away before they move again, a la those statue phantoms from Doctor Who. Put some fucking respect on the Weeping Angels' names, by the way. Here, they kind of lumber around like Barney, shedding menace by the heavy footstep. And the movie makes a huge miscalculation in turning them into misunderstood monsters, with an origin story that's technically from the games, but deflating in adaptation. Now, there's a lot to be said here. There's a lot to unpack in this one paragraph, so I'm just gonna break it down for you real simple. The movie adapts the source material in a way that makes sense, so it's bad. Yeah. With a lot of really weird and questionable takes dealt with, let's see where Mr. Dowd's dwindling credibility culminates once and for all. The verdict. Scott Cawthon helped produce this big screen adaptation of his own indie horror phenomenon, but you wouldn't really guess as much, expanding this game's simple, primal premise with a surfeit of character melodrama. At last, we learn the tragic backstory of security guard Mike Schmidt. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's that labors under the bizarre assumption that the loyal fan base wants a lot of extraneous plot surrounding the fun center horror. Switch off the monitor, slam the door, or just play the game instead. Hold on, I need to look at this real quick. Oh, it's just a fucking notification from Discord. Never mind. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah. Remember when I said that this guy really seemed to understand the series at first? Like he actually seemed like he knew kind of, you know, the song and dance of the series. Yeah. The bizarre assumption that the loyal fan base wants a lot of extraneous plot? Yes! Yes! That is exactly what we want. In fact, extraneous plot and lore is exactly what we want from Five Nights at Freddy's to begin with. This guy's deplorable takes are actually beginning to make me sweat. I need some fucking water. Who edited this? Who saw this review and thought, like, yeah, that's a fucking banger. People are gonna love this. Oh my god. This review is a perfect example of pop culture journalism at its absolute finest. Game critics and movie critics, plagued by this gross misunderstanding of the material, love to write this big nothing sandwich of a review and pretend they're helping you make a good financial decision. And I mean, this extends beyond just Five Nights at Freddy's. I mean, like, look at how they just love to jerk off all the big AAA releases and dog on all the cult hit games. Choo Choo Charles, anyone? If the Assassin's Creed games were reviewed and looked at under a proper critical lens by mainstream media, one of a player rather than a professional yapper, you know? I guarantee you that Valhalla would be non-consensually raw-dogged by IGN for being the blandest, most uninspired piece of garbage Ubisoft has ever even conceived. However, most importantly to this video, they have this inexplicable hate boner for Five Nights at Freddy's that hasn't gone away, like, ever. And that's what this video is about. Oh, I've knocked down my background. That's my bad. But regardless, I mostly I was going to extend this to be a much longer video than it is, but I decided I'm going to split it up into multiple parts. So, with that being said, this is going to be the first video talking about the movie, and now I'm going to make a video making fun of the different reviews and sort of explaining the criticisms, trying to delve into why critics hate Five Nights at Freddy's so much, you know, video by video. And I don't have a script at this point, I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. But the next one is going to be about Five Nights at Freddy's 4, which, in my opinion, I believe has the most unjustified hatred from critics for it for some reason. It is the lowest Five Nights at Freddy's game on Metacritic, which is total bullshit. So yeah, be sure to look out for that one, you know? Anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping right now before, like, my stutter takes hold and my autism overloads. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you have any feedback for me, make sure to drop a comment. If you want to see more shit like this, if you want to see when the next video comes out, feel free to tune in, subscribe, shit like that, you know? I'm gonna go to bed, because as you can see, my hair's fucking wet from showering. So yeah, y'all have a great day, man.
We say